Okay, this was a question that came in from Pat. We were talking about putting zips in knitted garments, and she was saying how she was a bit nervous about doing it. I can understand that, because for years, if I saw a pattern I liked and it had a zip in it, I would just put button band on it anyway. But I did decide to give it a go last year and found that it wasn't as difficult as you'd think. Normally with a question like this, I like to do one and do a practical video to show how it's done, but with other commitments I've had this month, I've not been able to do that. It's high on my list of priorities, so when I do one, I will do a video to show how I've done it, but to share some tips with you. You obviously want a zip like you get in jackets, and where you've got the open end at the bottom. I would recommend that you use, for knitted items, one with plastic teeth. The other area to look at and to think about, at the top of your zip here, there's usually a plastic coating which can be rather irritating on the neck, and especially if it's a child's neck. So you either cut it off and fold the end over, or fold the end over so that it's not an issue. If you've got a cardigan or a jacket and the collar, if it's long enough to fold over and you end up with a folded collar like that, you can enclose that plastic bit into the fold so that it's not an issue. So that's just one thing to keep an eye out. So when you're getting your zip, measure your zip, and what I tend to do is mark halfway on my border, excuse me, I'm going to cough, halfway along your border and the halfway point on your zip, and match those up. And then you need to make sure that it's well pinned, because obviously knitting is very mobile, so just make sure it's well pinned. You can do it by hand, and if you're going to do it by hand, rather than doing a back stitch, I'd recommend that you would do a running stitch, first going one way and then coming back the other way and filling in the stitches. It'll just make it a bit more secure than doing a back stitch, and it will have a neater finish. The thread that I use is one that will blend in with your knitted garment, because those stitches will just sink in and disappear. I did mine on the machine and I was surprised at how easy it was. I have a feeling I probably did a long stitch as well, just to help go over the bulkiness of the knitting. You just have to be careful. That's why you need to have it well pinned, that you're not moving your garment around. The one that I did, it was on stocking stitch, so you got a smoother surface. And I think I can't remember, but I think I probably just used a normal zipping foot. And as I say, I was quite surprised at how easy it was. So those are the general tips I would like to keep in mind. Make sure it's well pinned. If you're going to do hand stitching, do running stitch one way and then running stitch back. It is possible to do it on the machine. Make sure it's well pinned so it's not moving around, and to keep an eye on the plastic finish on the end, that you either remove it or that it's enclosed in the actual collar. So I will put it on my list of things to do, and as soon as I've done one, I'll do a video and I'll share that with you as well. But I hope that helps, and all I can say is just give it a go. You'll be surprised at sort of how easy you find it.